a lot of these sort of very intricate sounds, but I've give them all a very tight haircut, so they just fill in the tiny bit of space that they're occupying.
I love that.
Yeah.
This episode is being supported by Tape It, the iPhone recording app made for musicians by musicians.
You're seeing that because I basically didn't play this track, and then I just said, like, here, just sing something over this. I just played this to you, and you just had to improvise over it.
It was like Danny's challenge.
Yeah. This is
Also, what's good with working with Danny is Danny will be like, oh, Olly, why don't you try this? But I won't know exactly. I will, but I'll have to interpret what you mean. And it's like a fun... Oh.
This was the original. Yeah, I just wanted to see how you'd react to this.
What is creative? I mean, it sounds like it's all played, Danny.
Yeah.
I mean, like you're playing a synth, a keyboard,
You did play it in though.
I played bits of it in, but I always, even if I play something in, I always then quantize it to make it sound like it wasn't played in, to remove any sense of humanity from anything that I do.
I love that.
So, for example, we got that, which I think, to me, that looks... I could have played it in, but it's been like very much quantized since. This is on a possibly my favorite synth called Plasmonic, and that's a fantastic synth, and that's the sound on its own, and then I bounced it into audio, so it's just like. So it's just so there's no reverb tail, and it's like pan to the left, and then it just forms part of a texture, which it turns into this. And because the texture of this track really demands that nothing has any kind of reverb tail at all, that these very extreme jumps from the sort of I was quite inspired by those example sort of vinyl records and cassette tapes that would demonstrate like how a stereo system works with like stuff hard pan left and right, and that's why I was sort of
used every frequency.
Yeah, and I was just interested in like all that kind of this sort of thing which plays with like left and right, like and it, almost in a way that's sort of a demonstration tape.
This episode is being supported by our good friends at Tape It, the iPhone app made specifically for musicians. If you, like many of our guests, use voice memos, then as far as we're concerned, switching to Tape It is an obvious choice. It's free, and there are a load of features you won't find on Apple's Voice Memos app, including the ability to record straight from your lock screen, set markers, add notes, include photos of settings, and you can easily import your old voice notes, sync to the cloud, and create shared playlists with co-writers and bandmates. So head to the link below to install the app now. And if you want even more, check out Tape It Pro and use the promo code TAPENOTES to receive a whopping 20% off. And now, back to the episode.
We have the sort of drums at the center of it. Let's see if I can find that. There's lots of funny layering going on here. And that's a section of the drums. Let's see if I can get some more going here. Okay, so that section there is a little fill. And there's usually something filling in here. And there we go, that's what that was. So the drums are enhanced by these kind of like tricks that you can use to sort of enhance the stereo image. There's a tape delay trick here. Let's see if pull this down here, where basically the delay time is 0 milliseconds, and it's only you got the sort of wet of the dry and wet up, and therefore all you're hearing there is just this really quick delay. And if I were to up the feedback, it would make it start feeding back with itself if it gets up past a certain threshold. There you go, but it's just enough below, you get that sound feeding back against itself. And because it's in a stereo image, it has this kind of like hi-fi effect to it, and you can actually control sort of what frequencies it's sort of feeding back at, if you want it low or just high. But when it gets high, it starts like feeding back in that quite harsh, higher frequencies. I was just interested in it, in that, like, that world.
Very mechanical.
Yes, that's sort of one of the things that makes that sound. And that sort of layered up then just gives it this kind of wider and kind of just strange, like artificial industrial feel there. And there was the sort of layered sound there. Just doubling that. Just that happens once in the track. And there's lots of things that just happen once, actually. That's I think it was another core idea of the track, to have these like endless amount of fills and extra things that just happen once, and just kind of saturate the listener with information.
Mm-hmm.
We could go into some more, maybe. That's it. There we go. Okay, so we have a bit. So there, I sort of changed the chord that's being played there. So that's another. That's a sort of. I think it's a tambourine going through a kind of gated reverb, and then that is a very fast flute arpeggio. That's just another sort of tightly sort of bounced file, so there's no audio tail on that. And then, which is, I think, a sample of
Me?
Olly in the song's Shadow of Love. I think it's that of Shadow of Love. And then we have these 1, 2, 3, 4s, which I think are maybe from the. I think that might be from the Triton. Just just the effect that I really enjoyed. It had a sort of studio feel to it.
Yeah.
Studio stereo
feel.
sound feel.
I love that.
Yeah, the vocal samples. I think that is literally from. Oh no, that's the sample that I did. Let's see. Another Triton. A lot of Triton on this, or maybe just on the songs that we were looking at today. So a lot of these sort of very intricate sounds, but always I've give them all a very tight haircut, so they just fill in the tiny bit of space that they're occupying. There we go. There's another one. Is that with automation there? There's a sort of that looks like a sort of manually written automation there on that one. There we go. Those two chords. And yeah, so it's just a sequence of things like that. And there's this kind of quite strange pinched guitar harmonic there. That sort of is accompanying the initial bit of the song.
And those kind of things, like the guitar, what is that? Is that you picking up the guitar even though you don't want to, or is that just grabbing a sample?
You can kind of make that sound out of anything, really.
Right.
Often, I could just sample a MIDI instrument and do that in Waves Tune or something like that to create that thing. And I often sort of have a sort of perverse joy in doing that, in like recreating what could be real in a sort of in a synthesized way. I recently enjoyed listening to the Coca-Cola Pop and Fizz sound, which was what Coca-Cola had used for years and years and years, and it is actually a completely synthesized sound.
Is it? Of course it is.
But it just is so perfectly done. It's actually, as sort of Foley sound is, sounds more perfect in real life. And that's kind of why I like that sort of process, because I like creating these sort of dream environments, and I like the fakeness of it. It makes it more of an honest transaction.
Yeah.
That it feels like it's not real. It's something that sort of separates it off as more of a fantasy.